I'm Ursula Bollweiler, a member of the League of Women Voters of Kitsap. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose candidates and works to provide information about the candidates and issues before the voters. We are interviewing candidates for Central Kitsap School Board Position 5. That will appear on your November ballot, which you should receive in the mail around mid-October. We're asking 5 questions. The candidates will have 90 seconds to answer each question. Let's get to know Eric Greene. Eric, you have 90 seconds to introduce yourself and tell us why you chose to run for the office of Central Kitsap School Board Position 5.
Ursula, thank you for the introduction. I've been in the position for 17 years, so why I ran or asked to be appointed or filed to be appointed in 2008 might be a little bit different than the reason that I'm running now. But I can say that over the course of 17 years in this position that we've done great things in Central Kitsap School District, facilities-wise and program-wise. I'm very proud of the work that I've done and that the board has done to keep the district solvent. I'm very proud. Like I said, I'm very proud of that. We are the only district that's in the black right now. We're no layoffs. We're working very hard to ensure that stays that way. I think we'll cover some of those things in the questions that you've got for me later. So I will defer the rest of my time and say that I appreciate the opportunity to put myself out there to the community and that I hope that I present myself well. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. So now for our first question. The role of a public school district board of directors is to govern by setting policies and making decisions that shape the education of students. What are some of the key responsibilities of a school director that support successful governance of a public school system?
So the key functions that we have as a board can pretty much be summarized in our strategic plan. Our job is to make sure that we're providing the community, the families, the students, the staff, the best opportunities to succeed and to do well. In doing that, we've structured a strategic plan that's actually been entering its 3rd year. We'll be working on a revision starting in the fall. That is our roadmap to the future. It lays out those things that we're looking to increase, to improve on, and those things and there are many things in there that we've been successful, but we're looking to expand. So the board of directors hires the superintendent. We approve the budget. You mentioned policies. Policies can be very interesting discussions as we're moving forward. We are all not on the same page necessarily on the board, and we have some lively discussions and some really good question and answer periods as we put those into play. So we're responsible for the educational program. We're responsible to the community. Those are the things that we focus on. We try to communicate well with the community, and we also work very hard to ensure that we are transparent in our work and in our decision making.
Thank you, Eric. On to question 2. What would you do to address the chronic understaffing of special education classrooms in the Central Kitsap School District?
Well, understaffing of special ed is not does not just exist in Central Kitsap School District. It's an issue there's throughout districts all over the country. Special ed is in itself an important program. We treat it as such. What we do with the understaffing is obviously we fill every position that we can with a certificated individual and staff person. We also fill some positions with contract personnel, but we only do that when we are unable to get to find someone to fill the certificated position. In order to fill those positions, we send our HR folks throughout out across the country, across the state, across the West, into the Midwest in search of individuals who would be interested in coming to Washington State, to Central Kitsap in particular. And we do our best to find qualified people to fill those positions.
Thank you. Now on to question 3. A district's annual budget shows the board's commitment toward fulfilling the goals of the instructional program and providing for the efficient and effective operation of the district. Regarding the district's budget process, what strategies do you suggest to address any deficits faced in the future, especially related to declines in student enrollment or loss of federal funding?
Well, in my time on the board, we have dealt with the temporary loss of federal funding in the form of heavy impact aid, and we worked very hard to convince the government, the federal government, that we were qualified for those funds. We were successful, and we were able to recoup those funds. In order to do that, however, you have to pay attention to where you are financially, what you're doing. You have to be conservative in your budgeting, and we have done that. At the same time, this year in particular, we weren't, with all the churn that's going on with the federal government. We weren't quite sure what was going to happen with federal funds. We have a budget advisory council, which is made up, and it's a big one. It's 45 individuals who have volunteered their time to support the district when it comes with respect to the budget. They provided us three recommendations for if we were operating in the black, which fortunately we are, and 3 recommendations that we might incorporate if we were operating in the red or seeing a deficit. So we do that very. We take their contributions very seriously, and in fact, we did adopt their recommendations for this particular year. So the other piece of it, and I just have a second, but the other part of it is that we pay attention. We budget very carefully and very conservatively. So we put ourselves in a position where we don't hire too many. It might at the beginning, it may look like we've hired too few, but we leave ourselves in a position to hire those additional individuals if we need to. So those are our primary strategies for dealing with those type of situations.
Thank you, Eric. So now to question number 4. The National Education Association has stated support for school libraries, and in recent years, many books have become controversial. How do school boards navigate the concerns of parents, teachers, librarians, and students regarding sensitive content?
So I was just looking at Central Kitsap Policy 2021 and the procedure that accompanies it, 2021P. We have a process for that. We have a selection process where we select books, but we know that there are books that people aren't going to like and that are going to be controversial. So we also have a process for a request for reconsideration of books that are in fact in our libraries. That the process is very detailed. There are librarians on there, there are teachers on there, there are administrators on there, there are students, usually students who are 16 years of age or older. There are community members. We got everybody on there to gather as much input as we can, and we address the concerns that have been brought to us. So it's for Central Kitsap, it's a formal process that we follow. We just don't have, it doesn't allow for anyone to just show up and say, take that book off the shelf, and we're going to do it. If you want us to reconsider a book that's on the shelf of one of our libraries, whether it be elementary or secondary, basically you'll follow the paperwork and we'll follow the process, and we'll ensure that we do the right thing with respect to those concerns.
Thank you. And our final question. Against what metrics will you assess district leadership's attainment of key goals? How will you know when a program or decision has been successful?
Well, this is one of my favorite topics. We are focused on and we are committed to the use of data to provide answers to the metrics that we follow. We have key performance indicators that we look at from when the students are in kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. We look very closely at attendance. We've had some issues with attendance. We know that there are some students that are still around but are not attending school. We also pay attention to issues with behaviors, because we know both attendance and behaviors affect the successful performance of students in the classroom, and also affect the students and the teachers that are in the classroom with those individuals that are misbehaving. So we're going to focus on those type of things. We're also going to look at student achievement numbers. The Smarter Balance assessment we look at every year. It's just a one-time look, but it does give us a little bit of information and a feel for things. We also do formative assessments in every grade up through 8th grade and then up to 10th grade, that allows us to look 3 times a year at the progress that our students have made, in particular with English language arts and math, and then in the high school and the science area. So
thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric Greene, for running for office and for sharing your views. I'm Ursula Vollweiler on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Kitsap. Thanks for watching, and please share this video. If you want to help the League do this work, consider joining at lwv.org. And don't forget to return your ballot by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 4th.